In this video today, I am exploring new ways to test behaviors automatically, which pushed me experimenting with time measurement in Unreal Engine, which is not an easy journey. In this video series, I am experimenting learning Unreal Engine 5.6 by reproducing the Cropout sample project from Epic Games, adding automated tests. I am Philippe from Tokyo. Welcome to my Unreal Engine series. In the previous episode, I made it so that when I commit my changes, a push to GitHub is performed using a post-commit hook. But now, when I tag, tags are not pushed. I need to commit before applying a tag, therefore I cannot push the tag at the same time. And I could not find a post-tag hook to be executed after adding a tag. I had another discussion, shorter this time, with Mistral AI, Le Chat, as there is no post-tag hook. It recommended me to change the config of Git. Yeah, I can do that, but the Git config is not tracked. So as last time, I will update the clone script to update my config for this project. For the tag, it recommends me to add an alias tagpush that will tag and then push. The drawback is that I have to remember to use tagpush instead of tag, but let's give it a try. Funnily, it also recommended me to change the config to point to my own git hooks directory. As you can see in my script, I will still do the xcopy for now, but I am also adding the 2 lines recommended by Le Chat. So with these 2 lines, after a clone, I am changing the config of Git, the hooks directory, and add a tagpush alias. Let me do a copy of my repository like last time, then launch my clone script, and check the git config file if I can see my 2 settings. Nope. Let's try, but from a command prompt this time. Okay, not in a git directory, of course. So I need to change directory this time. And if I try again, destination path already exists. Yeah, I should have deleted the directory before running the script. But it should have performed the git commands anyway. In the git config, the tagpush alias. And I have the hook path. Now I have my new clone. What I am going to do is, because it is supposed to use this post-commit hook from .githooks now, I am updating this message, and let's see which message will be used on commit. So let's say that this is fixed. Let's mark it as to validate before I publish the video. Okay, next. So in this episode, I would like to fix the failing tests. I will take care of the island later. Believe me or not, but I learned so much while trying to make such tests, and I have fun. I am still using Unreal Engine 5.6.1, but I will soon move to 5.7. I just need to make sure first that the Cropout sample project still works in 5.7. And this is why also I am making all these automated tests. I want to see what is working and what is not working after upgrading the engine. So my test island is loaded, displaying the mesh info. Okay, before starting anything new, I would like to check the status of all my tests. In product test, let's run all of them. So, island is not getting too heavy is failing like we have seen in the previous episode. Let me remind you what the test looks like. I get the triangle count of a generated mesh, and then I generate a new island, and I get the new triangle count. And the test is successful if both values match. Without solidification, the number of triangles was the same. But with the solidification of a mesh, the number of triangles varies from one solidification to another. Sometimes more, sometimes less. So this test is not working anymore. Let me show you what I tried instead. I created this new average test. It's messy, and I will refactor it once I know this test is working for me. In this test, I am still getting the original triangle count, and I added a loop for which I can control the number of iterations with an instance visible variable. For each iteration, I generate a new island and get the new triangle count. And I store in an array each differences with the original count. Basically, a success is when the average of all the differences with the original count is below a threshold which I set to 2000. Above the threshold, it is a failure. If I run the test, that works. A bit slower, but it works compared to the original test. But the existence of this test is to verify my understanding of the purpose of a reset of the dynamic mesh. Do you remember? Let's see if I bypass the reset. As usual, without the reset, when I compile, the compilation time jumps to 8 seconds. And if I run the 2 tests, both are not failing when they are supposed to fail. and the average takes more than 10 seconds. What I can do is to increase the number of iterations on the average test. If I try 3 iterations, I know that 2 iterations are not enough. And run the 2 tests. The average is failing, but after more than 20 seconds. Unacceptable for me. 20 seconds is too long, and having to adjust the threshold makes me feel that my test is fragile. I created this test based on the observation that the size of the mesh was cumulating after each call to create island, and that I chose to check for the number of triangles to remain in an acceptable quantity. But it was before adding the solidification, which seems to clean the mesh. So I reflected on the reason why I had to add the reset. I remembered that back then I observed an increase in duration for the generation too, so maybe I can say that the test fails if creating an island gets too long. I remember that functional tests have timeouts. Let's be aggressive and set the timeouts to 1 second for both of my tests, and run both of them. This test took 11 seconds, but didn't timed out. I don't understand. I need to find another way. It took me a while to find a way, but let me show you quickly. I created another test in Basit Test Island named Island Generation Total Time. I made it so to compare various time retrieval functions. Usually when I want to measure the performance, it's quite straightforward. Retrieve the date before, do something, retrieve the date after, and subtract them to get the duration. But here, I got strange results. Let me show you the test. So, this is the different ways I found to retrieve the time in Unreal Engine. I put each of them in an array of floats before and after. I print the UTC now in the test result, because it's a string. Let me show you the results. First, this is the result of UTC now as a string. And the test duration is around 6.7 seconds. At the beginning and at the end, I printed the integer, the number of seconds, returned by getAccurateRealTime. The difference is about 3 seconds, but the total execution time is 6.7 seconds. 3 seconds are missing. Then the first float is partial second from the getAccurateRealTime. Adding them does not explain the 3 seconds missing. Then the getRealTime seconds, which gives the same value before and after. Then I got the total time, which is a function from functional testing, presumably to read the value of total time, which gives 0. Why? Then get time in seconds and get time seconds that will give the same results before and after too. And finally, I have UTC now converted as a double. It ends by 83 before and 87 after, around 3 seconds also. Nowhere I got 6 seconds. It seems some functions return an absolute time and others a relative time relative to, I'm not sure. I had a doubt regarding my blueprint, so I added a delay of 5 seconds, and if I run, 11.5 seconds, which is consistent about 6 seconds from the previous execution plus the 5 seconds delay. First, the number of seconds, 33 and 41, so an 8 seconds duration, 5 more seconds than previously. I skip the partial seconds and look at the get real-time seconds. 3.62 seconds before and 11.57 seconds after, and this after value is close to my total execution time this time. It was 3 seconds behind before. The total time, which was 0 before, is now almost the same as the delay I added. Then get time in seconds and get time seconds, which were the same before, are now delayed by 5 seconds. And last is the UTC now, 79 seconds before and 87 seconds after, for a duration of 8 seconds. So I think I will be keeping the get real-time seconds. That seems to give me something close to the total execution time. So I create the island, then get real-time seconds, that I compare to 5 seconds as a baseline. And the test will be successful if I am below these 5 seconds, or equals. Let's not be picky. Or am I? And a failure otherwise. Time's up. And in time for the success. If I run, seems it will fail. Nope. Success. Total duration is 6.61 seconds, which is greater than 5 seconds. Okay, let's print the duration and run. 6.5 seconds for the execution time. but the printed value is 3.5 seconds. That's why it succeeded. So let's compare it to 3 seconds. Run. Time's up. Maybe I should change this message. It's like the default timeout message. Good. Time's up with 3.6 seconds. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if I reactivate the reset, it should pass. Yes, in time with a total time of 1.6 seconds and 1.07 seconds from the retrieve value. Now my test is working, I can refactor it. The only thing I'm going to change is this time's up message to too long to generate. I like this test. It means that next time I add a feature to the island, I will immediately know if it has a measurable impact on the generation time, I hope. Let's make sure it's still working. Okay, failing with too long to generate. And if I re-enable the reset and run, success. So now if I run all my tests with the reset, I should have no failure. I know that island is not getting too heavy is broken, but why is my island generation time failing too now? Less than 1 second, but it failed? Interesting, but back to square one. Yeah, I have this island on the level, and all the tests are calling create island. This function is called many times. Is it because I have all my tests running in parallel? I spur this parallel information here. If I run the tests with the reset node, I can see that my test lasted less than 3 seconds. The traces, I have 14 seconds. So I am not using the right method, I think. While I have a failing configuration, I will try to fix this test before reorganizing my tests. But let me review the previous results with all the functions. Yeah, I feel I will keep running with UTC now. I want to measure the actual time experienced by the player. So this is my new test using UTC now, using the good old technique of getting the date before and the date after, so that I can calculate the duration of a create island function. I also change the test result message in order to display the duration directly, so that I don't have to look at the log. So when I run all the 4 tests without the reset, I expect this one to fail. And it's not. It took only 2 real-time seconds. But I recall that the impact of the reset is more obvious when you call the create island on an already existing island. So I am calling the create island twice, still not having the reset, and the test failed after 6.5 seconds. Good. Now, if I add the reset back, it should not fail. Success with 1.5 seconds to generate the island twice. Now I have working test, I can refactor. I am removing the debug traces and put back the previous test result messages. Removing these 2 unused nodes. I think it's okay for the refactoring. Is it still working? Yes. Maybe now I can get rid of this non-working test, but I would reuse a blueprint which is tracked in version. So I am going to copy my new generation time test into island is not getting too heavy. Needs a bit of cleanup. Yeah, I need to update the variables. And create new variables. Oh, I hate this in Unreal Engine. I have to find another way. Please recommend me another way in comments. Done. Compile and save. And if I did the job correctly, my test should pass. Success. Fixing the message. And I can delete this generation time test. What about the average? Okay, delete. I refresh the list of tests and run. Success. And if I bypass the reset, one test should fail. Nope. Okay, let me add the duration in the test result message. Oh, I forgot to connect this node. So if I run now, okay, failing. Let me add the unit as a suffix. And the reset, run, success. Okay, I am done with my tests. They are working as expected. Let's just complete this video by committing my changes as refactored, island is not too heavy. Commit what just made. This is my post-hook message. I forgot from which script it is coming from. Oh, I made a mistake. I refreshed my repository at some point, and I forgot to update the post-commit hook message to verify which directory it is coming from. I will try again later. Okay, let's add the tag now for the episode 8. git tagpush A01, E08, and error. The tag was added, but not pushed. Let me check the syntax given by AI. I will replace this by -- tags. And let's try again. Okay, need to delete the existing one. Try again. Okay, tag added, and it is in GitHub. I am happy with my new test. It forced me to learn about time measurement in Unreal Engine, but I know I have a long way to go, since I have to understand the concept of latent functions and understand all the various ways to measure time. I am not satisfied I use functional testing to do performance testing, but it works for me for now. I was also thinking about adding the duration for creating an island at the same time, but I don't need it. I don't need it right now, and when I need it, I will use the Unreal Insights. Thank you for watching. I am Philip from Tokyo. I want to see you in the next video.